Hi, my name is Megan Levangie, and I researched into the St. Louis Cemetery number 3. Now, I'm from Los Angeles, California, but don't have too many large cemeteries around me, so I decided to um, do a virtual tour of a cemetery, and I was excited to do it about New Orleans. I have had the honor of going to New Orleans before, and I really love it there. It's really awesome, and they have so many different unique cemeteries with pretty crazy stories behind them. Um, but the St. Louis Cemetery started in 1854, and this was as a direct result of the 1853 yellow fever epidemic. It was thought to kill about 8 to 10,000 people, and as a result, they needed more land to bury their dead. Um, and so they started this cemetery. It's very diverse. There are people from many backgrounds, that both economic and social, that live there, that, well, I guess, were buried there, and well, there are many burials there to this day. So that's really interesting and really unique. Something that I thought was really interesting, actually, from the time that I visited there and learned, was that the cemeteries are built in these big crypts that are above the ground, because with all of these epidemics, it's like the city of the dead, right? That's what they refer it to as, and all of these epidemics caused a lot of people to die. But then when hurricanes would come in and floods would come in, the bodies would raise out of the ground and flood the streets. And so it started to become a really big problem. So they had to start to build these crypts up on the outside, so that they can bury their dead there without worrying about them on the streets later when there's a storm or a hurricane. Um, Also really interesting, is that the crypts are used for multiple people. They're like a hot chamber. So when people die, they're put into the crypts, and by the time the next person needs to be buried in there, they've already been skeletonized because of how hot it is inside of the crypts. And that's kind of where the term wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole came in, because they would push with a very long pole. They would push the bones back to the back of the crypt for the next body to be laid in there, which I find to be very interesting. um, Really unique layout to the cemeteries is, they are pretty well thought out. You can usually drive through it and see it on a map, that they're all laid out kind of next to each other. You won't see a grave there that's just like a headstone for somebody. It's often a name on a crypt, or a family crypt, or if you were part of some sort of organization, they might purchase these crypts or these areas to be buried all together, and they're just grand, big and grand. Usually some sort of marble, or really heavy stone. Um, the styles are really interesting too. They're all very unique in their own way. What I found really interesting was that there are a lot of Greco-Roman style crypts, but then there are also some Egyptian style crypts. Like they look like pyramids, and then a lot of different, like, Creole style that you would think of New Orleans with. So I found the cemetery to be very interesting and very unique.